Welcome, Bitcoin fam, to No One Daily Bitcoin Pod. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest Bitcoin technical analysis, as well as 120,000 next leg up Bitcoin price target in play. Also, corporate Bitcoin purchases have now outweighed the supply of the newly minted Bitcoin by 3.3x thus far this year in 2025. Also, Senator Lummis urges the U.S. Treasury to eliminate taxes on unrealized gains for Bitcoin and crypto. Hey, let's also get rid of the taxes on the realized gains, Cynthia, while we're at it. Also in today's show, I'll be sharing some breaking news. Dubai becomes the first government to accept Bitcoin and crypto in the Middle East as game theory continues around the world. Also, the Bitcoin illiquid supply hits a whopping 14 million BTC as hodlers set the bull market record. Also, decentralized lending protocol DeFi Aave reaches 40 billion in value locked on chain. We'll also be discussing quant analyst Plan B says new Bitcoin all-time high in play with six-figure price target in sights. And speaking of bullishness, ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood doubles down on her Bitcoin price prediction, says her base case still remains 700,000 with the bull scenario at 2.4 million. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, it's very important. Smash the likes. Go ahead, subscribe. It's free to do so. Then hit the bell icon. Turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, 7 days a week. Just like this. Today is pod episode 1991. I'm your host, JV. It's May 14, 2025. Pretty little bitty sitting pretty at 103.3 at the time of the live stream. Let's kick it off with our market watch. As we do each and every day, pulling up Coin 360. You can see the market is correcting a bit today, but it's all good in the bitty hood. Just down 1%. Ethereum down 2.4. Ethereum's actually been one of the biggest gainers in the top cryptos this week. Hit, I think, 27.28 just the other day. Corrective today down 2%. Tron's in the green, XRP in the red, BNB in the red. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. The current crypto market cap back on a rise at 3.34 trillion. Surprise, surprise. The bitty market cap at 2.05 trillion, also back on the rise overall. We have roughly 137 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance took a step back, 61.5%, while the Ether dominance has been breaking out at 9.4 today. And just a few days ago, it was like at 7.2, 7.4. So Ether's had a lot of momentum in the past week, as I pointed out. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers of the past 24 hours. And the pudgy little penguins are leading the pack. Up 17.5%, followed by Walrus, up 10%, followed by Helium, up almost 5%, and then the rest, very modest gains as the majority of the market is correcting and in the red. And checking out the crypto bubbles. We like to use this just to get a visual perspective on the day. And I dare say, maybe 70% of the market actually in the green, 30% in the red for the daily. And checking out on the weekly, the bulk of the market in the green, which we love to see. And very similar on the monthly, I dare say 95 to 97% of the market pumping. The momentum is back. The bulls are here since we recaptured 100,000 new all-time highs in play. Nippinator indicator in full effect. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index. As of today, we're back in greed at a 73. Yesterday 70, last week a 67, and last month a 31 in fear. And checking out the infamous time chain calendar. TikTok next block. Let's get her. We have 153,316 blocks until the halving of 2028. And we're currently on block number 896,684. Por favor. And how many sats can you get for $1? Let's see if this actually loads, because for some reason it's stuck like Chuck. So let's see. Here we go. You can currently get 967 sats per dollar. So broskies and baddies all around the world, you know what to do. Pick up the sats, put down the gats, and pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man, Sergio, over at bitcoincaps.net. Let them know your boy sent you, JV. But anyways, yeah, let's dive into today's TA. 120 in play according to the latest analysis. We'll also be pulling up some of the live charts. You know how we do. But first, let's start with this particular headline. Bitcoin breakout to 120 on the radar as markets forget Fed July rate cut. What rate cut? Yeah, that's right. Bitcoin hugged familiar territory around May 14th. I dare say it didn't just hug, it French kissed. As traders awaited for the fresh U.S. macro cues. As you can see on the daily chart here, and I'll pull up the live charts here in a bit. Trading View showed 103 remaining as the Bitcoin price magnet. The bulls managed another trip to 105 the day prior, with momentum nonetheless lacking after brisk gains throughout the first half of the month. Now traders eyed consolidation prior to the return of the volatility, with predictions favoring the further upside, such as the Nibinator indicator calling for a new all-time high. In Phoenix here, it's all just a big shakeout range, and before another breakout again and breakout again and breakout again. You gotta have patience, like a young Pai Mei at the Shaolin Temple. Just saying, young monks. And even though Bitcoin looks great, in my opinion, I still stand by the fact it will probably move sideways here for a while. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Binazine Trader. He says that Bitcoin remains calm, then the alts can do their own thing for a bit. But who really cares about the alts when you got the pretty little bitty going up forever, Laura? I'm just stating the facts. But despite seeing the Bitcoin bull market unwinding sooner rather than later, fellow trader Roman agreed that the higher highs would come first, quoting the bullish analyst here. Looking for more upside if we continue to consolidate here, as consolidation equals continuation of the trend. Yes, my macro views believe the Bitcoin bull is close to over, but there is still room for the short-term upside. Break 108 resistance and 120 as possible. Damn straight. And the weekly chart, which I'll show you, shows you the 124 cup and handle target still in play. Meanwhile, macro influences were less pronounced on the day thanks to the gap and the U.S. inflation data releases. The day prior, the CPI print failed to spark a fresh crypto rally, with eyes now on the PPI numbers due on May 15th. And speaking of PPI, kind of reminds me of this guy named P. Diddy. But I digress. Commenting, trading firm QCP Capital stressed that the Fed's hawkish policy was dictating market expectations. Interest rate cuts in the first half of 2025, a would-be risk asset tailwind were beginning increasingly priced out. Quoting them here, QCP Capital, US CPI came in below expectations, providing a welcome reprieve inflation worries, bolstering bets on these rate cuts. And shout out to the Oracle, she just gifted 5 memberships. I'll congratulate everyone here shortly. Quoting QCP here, still the Fed remains cautious. As its last meeting, officials reiterated a data-dependent stance, flagging the uncertain downstream effects of tariffs on both unemployment and inflation. That's right. Data from the CME Group's FedWatch tool put the Fed's September meeting as the likely occasion to deliver the next cut. Quoting them here, market pricing is also adjusted accordingly, with 2 rate cuts now expected for 2025, down from just 4 the month prior. And if you don't know, now you know. This is breaking. Corporate Bitcoin purchases have now outweighed the supply of the new Bitcoin by 3.3x in 2025. Can you say supply shock? I mean, seriously, you're going to run out of Bitcoin on the exchanges. It's only a matter of time, especially with all the new Bitcoin treasury companies being birthed, right? Also, Senator Lummis urges U.S. Treasury to eliminate taxes on unrealized gains. Personally, I never even realize that was a thing. Since when have there been taxes on unrealized gains for Bitcoin and crypto? I know they were proposing to do some shenanigans, some bullshit like that, but my understanding, that never passed. So let me know what's up with that. But yeah, I say let's make no taxes on all crypto, regardless if it's realized or unrealized. And if they're going to tax us on freaking unrealized gains, then we should be able to write off our unrealized losses. I mean, fair is fair. Let me know your thoughts. And also, 12% APR on Strike Bitcoin-backed loans. Jack Mallers announced it. I transcribed kind of what he said in this video. He's also shooting for single-digit APR by the end of the month. He's trying to get that 12% number down to like 9%. And he also stresses there's no rehypothecation, which ultimately means they're not going to reinvest your collateral in some risky bullshit like Bankman-Fried was doing, so you don't have to worry about them losing your collateral, which could potentially happen with companies that do the rehypothecation. So shout out Jack Mallers, and for those that don't know his company, Strike is now offering Bitcoin-backed loans, but I also say stress caution when using your Bitcoin as collateral as well, because things can go south if you're not aware of the potential, downside of what can happen. And I know from firsthand experience, I've experienced it. And also breaking news, Mexican billionaire Uncle Ricardo Salinas, shares his portfolio. This billionaire, 70% Bitcoin, smart man, 30% gold, No bonds and no stocks. I don't blame him. I mean, he's obviously a genius. Hence, we'd always refer to him as the third richest man in Mexico. I dare say he may be number one because we've been calling him the third richest man since Bitcoin was like a fraction of what it is today. His advice, buy the Bitcoin dip. Think 10 years because it's a limited asset, dollar cost average monthly to remove uncertainty. I think that's fantastic advice. But like I said, I only take financial advice from Jim Cramer. He's the only one truly qualified to do so, broskies. But I love Uncle Ricky, so shout out Uncle Ricky. And in other breaking news, Dubai, this is going to be our next story, so I'll just touch upon it. Dubai becomes the first government to accept Bitcoin and crypto in the Middle East. So Middle East adoption of Bitcoin and crypto happening in real time. And with that being shared, now let's pull up some of the live charts as I promised to share with you guys. You should be able to see live it on your screen. Live chart action, Jackson satisfaction for the baddies. That's right. Bitcoin's a pumping, a ripping, like a new Scottie Pippen times a old school Dennis Rodman with the elbow to the face. Yeah, 1034, currently at the time of the live stream. There's the 1 hour chart. We're going to get some different looks. Zooming out a little bit. On the 4 hour, you can see no particular targets, but we are trading sideways currently in a little corrective phase here midway through the week. Zooming out a little further, and last week was extremely bullish, as you know. We had a lot of big bullish days. On the daily, as you can see, that big green candle a few days back. Last week was very significant. Bull target scenario in play on the daily, sitting at price discovery, 111 plus. Current all-time high is 109.3, achieved all the way back in January on inauguration day for the Trumpster. And we also have some bear scenario sitting just shy of 69G. So, baby. And zooming out a little further, we take a look at a weekly. And that's WEEK, just for you haters out there, not WEAK whatsoever. Yeah, and on the weekly chart, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green consecutive candle closes on a weekly. The bullish momentum has returned for Q4. Bullish scenario, 124 target in play, cup and handle, right in alignment with that analyst I shared earlier for the next leg up. I think that's most likely somewhere between 120 to 130 once we can break 109.3. But you guys, let me know your thoughts. And zooming out from there, we take a look at a monthly. And the monthly says it's going up forever. Nipponator. Nipponator indicator in full effect. The most accurate Bitcoin indicator man has ever seen. Just saying, just quoting the obvious. But yeah, we had a very bullish monthly close for April. Thus far, bullish for the month of May as the bullish momentum continues halfway through the month. But you let me know where you feel the pretty little bitty price will likely take us next, and I'll read your comments out loud. And again, welcome everyone to the live stream. Let's get it. Let's continue with the headlines, shall we? Next story of the day regarding Dubai. This is actually a pretty big deal. Dubai taps Crypto.com to enable crypto payments for government services. And as I touched upon earlier, Dubai literally became the first government to accept Bitcoin and crypto in the Middle East. Bitcoin is spreading globally as history continues to be made all around the world. So let's dive a little deeper. The government of Dubai has signed an agreement with crypto exchange Crypto.com to launch crypto payments for the government services. The agreement, formalized during the Dubai FinTech Summit on May 12th, is part of Dubai's cashless strategy, which hopes to foster the city's transition to a fully digital cashless society by introducing a new digital payment channel across its official platform, the Dubai Department of Finance said on May 12th. And once the service goes live, individuals and business customers of the government entities can pay service fees with crypto through Crypto.com's digital wallets. The payments will be converted into dirhams and transferred to the DOF accounts, according to the DOF. Now, Amna Mohammed Luta, director of the Digital Payment System Regulation, stated Dubai's plan is for 90% of financial transactions across the public and private sector to be powered through cashless methods by 2026, quoting them here. We are confident that this milestone will significantly accelerate the advancement of the Dubai cashless society. The DOF didn't specify or mention which crypto it would start accepting, but I think we can all assume it's the pretty little bitty. They did say the payments would be used with stable cryptos, possibly indicating stables will also be allowed. That makes sense. A trio of major Abu Dhabi institutions, including the Emirates Sovereign Wealth Fund, announced April 28th to launch a new dirham peg stablecoin, and I'm assuming the dirham is their local fiat currency. The city's cashless strategy was first announced October 2024. At the time, the DOF said 97% of all the government payments in 2023 were already digital. In fact, even in the United States, I dare say there's probably more significant amount of digital payments via credit cards and debit cards than I see cash. But you guys let me know your thoughts. Personally, I hate cash. I prefer to use digital. So I was just curious if you guys are the same way. The strategy has also been predicted to add at least 8 billion dirhams, which is 2.1 billion USD to the economy, according to the DOF, fueled by the development of financial technology services and accelerated expansion of Dubai's fintech sector. Ahmed Ali, executive director of the central account sector at the DOF, said in a statement the government is still actively developing a regulatory framework that fosters innovation while ensuring the highest standards of security and efficiency in digital financial transactions. Dubai is considered a crypto-friendly city, obviously. The Emirate hosted the Dubai Edition Token 2049 event, which was a couple of weeks ago. Meanwhile, March 19th, the Dubai government started the pilot phase of a project to convert real estate assets into digital tokens on the blockchain. Other governments have also floated using crypto for payments. A New York lawmaker introduced legislation in April to allow state agencies to accept crypto payments. And obviously it'd be smart, and governments want to get paid, make it easy for the people to pay you. For those in crypto, why not? I still don't think, obviously, the bulk of the crypto folks hodl in Bitcoin have any desire to pay whatever government fees in Bitcoin, but give them the option. Why not? Let people pay the way they want to pay versus forcing them to do things XYZ the old school way, right? Next headline is regarding the illiquid supply for Bitcoin reaching 14 million as hodlers set the bull market record. Game on. That's right. Bitcoin is increasingly finding new ways into the hands of the entities, extraterrestrials, maybe, I'm just playing, that do not sell what they acquire. A Glassnode, which charts the portion of the Bitcoin supply owned by the so-called illiquid entities, reveals that this has reached levels not seen during the current bull market. An entity is considered illiquid if the ratio between its cumulative Bitcoin inflows and outflows is below a certain value. Quoting them here, this ratio yields a number L. Since when is L a number? That's interesting. Between 0 and 1, with larger values indicating higher liquidity. Liquidity is therefore the extent to which an entity spends the assets it receives. Illiquid entities are those that hoard the coins in anticipation of the long-term Bitcoin price appreciation. Hence, the long-term hodlers, the diamond hands, where makes a motherfucking noise. Illiquid supply stood at just over 14 million of the biddy this week, with a 30-day rolling increase coming in at 180,000 BTC. It's the largest jump, come on, jump, since December of 2022, and it's ironic Nemidators jumping on me as I say jump. At the time, the previous bear market was coming to an end, with Bitcoin declining 77% to hit the long-term lows of just below 15,000 in the process. And happy 444 por favor as we hit 444 here in the afternoon. Now, this bull cycle stands out in terms of investment trends thanks to the increasing institutional participation. For example, corporate treasuries such as that of the business intelligence firm Strategy have combined with the U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs to make Bitcoin a mainstream investment target. On-chain data likewise shows Bitcoin whales accumulating throughout the recent Bitcoin price rebound. Only retail investors appear to be panicking like a young Anakin Skywalker, that is. Bitcoin's key whale and Stark tier, holding 10 to 10,000 of the biddy, have now accumulated 83,000 more biddy in the last 30 days, according to sentiment, meaning the rich keep getting richer, the hodlers with the diamond hands keep stacking more biddy from those with the weak hands, which is what it is. It's the cycle. Meanwhile, the smallest retail holders have dumped 387 Bitcoin in the same time period. So stop selling your Bitcoin to BlackRock and Mikey Saylor. That's my advice for you. But then again, don't take financial advice from your boy. I'm not qualified. Only take financial advice from Jim Cramer. But anyways, next story, DeFi lender Aave reaches 40 billion in value locked on chain. That's right. For those of you not familiar, it's a decentralized protocol, and it reached a new record of funds on chain according to the data from the DeFi Llama. That's right. Aave said it topped 40.3 billion to be exact in total locked value on May 12th. On-chain data reveals that Aave version 3, the latest version of the protocol, has approximately 40 billion. And I think that's total value loaned, TVL. Aave is a DeFi lending protocol that lets users borrow crypto by depositing other types of crypto as collateral. Meanwhile, lenders earn yield from the borrowers. Quoting them here, with these milestones, Aave is proving its dominance in the lending space. That's right. Now, in December, Aave achieved an all-time high TVL, largely because the price of Ether rose roughly 60% from the prior month. Ether and its staking derivatives make up nearly half of Aave's TVL, according to data from the DeFi Llama. Now, around this time, Aave's all-time high is also driven by the inflows of deposits by their users in Ether denominated. I'm going to assume then Aave is an ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain. Correct me if I'm wrong, fam. That's my understanding. Aave's TVL rose from around 6 million ETH at the start of 2025 to nearly 10 million ETH on May 12th, measuring TVL and ETH accounts for the impact of fluctuating crypto prices. And let me know if any of you have ever used a centralized lending protocol such as Aave to borrow against. Now, before Trump prevailed in the November election, Ether traded at less than 2,500, and it's, I think, currently at like 2,600, so it's not much up from there. However, previous cycle, I think it was in 2021, November, it hit its peak of 4,500. So Ether has yet to recover from the previous cycle all-time high, just to put it in perspective. And in the past month, Ether also clocked substantial gains just recently, rising from 1,500 per Ether 30 days ago to now 2,500 to now roughly 26, 27 at the time of the live. The price of Aave's native Aave token has also risen approximately 25% of the past 7 days, reflecting a buoyant crypto market and an ongoing TVL inflow, according to the data from the coin market cap. And if you don't know, now you know. Here's the bullishness from Plan B, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model. Headline reads, quant analyst Plan B says new Bitcoin all-time high incoming with sky high price target in its sights. Let's get her. Popular quant analyst Plan B says that one key indicator suggests the pretty little bitty will hit explosive new all-time highs in the coming months. In a video update, the synonymous analyst shares that the RSI, which is the relative strength index indicator, suggests the Bitcoin bull market will continue and that the bitty may soar close to $500,000 per coin. That's right, $500,000 as per the stock to flow. The RSI is a momentum oscillator used to determine whether an asset is oversold or overbought. The RSI ranges from 0 to 100, with readings above 70 typically indicating an asset is overbought, while the readings below 30 suggest oversold. Quoting the analyst here, Plan B, in my opinion, from now on, we will see the new all-time highs. So that would be 110,000 and higher, followed by more monthly close all-time highs. Usually those all-time highs, they're not alone. They come in groups. Now, if we look at the RSI, the relative strength index currently is at a 66. That's around the average RSI level of 65, the dark area here in the chart, the black area. And it has been around the average for more than a year now. In my opinion, how I read this chart is the Bitcoin spent a couple of the years below that average of 65, and from now on it'll stay 1 or more years above the 65 average. And you already know 6 plus 5 is an 11. That's another sexy bitty blackjack babe. The analyst believes the RSI will hit at least 80 for several months this cycle based on a historic precedent, potentially increasing the Bitcoin by 290% of the current value. Let me know if you agree, disagree with stock to flow. Quoting the analyst. In fact, I think we'll see an 80 plus RSI months again, at least 4 of them, just like in the bull market of 2021 and 2017 and 2013. Always the year preceding the halving. Most bullish year of the season. And so I think we'll see those RSI numbers again, at least 4 times. And it reminds me of the infamous Binance founder, CZ, when he threw up the Quattro, the Force. You know what I'm saying. All those high RSI numbers are associated, of course, with the high monthly returns. Return of the Dragon, send it. Monthly returns of over 40% per month. And if we have from the current level an average of 100,000, 4 months of 40%, that can bring us already to 400,000 area. And if you don't know, now you know. Now for our feature story of the day, fam. ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood doubles down on her Bitcoin price predictions, says her base case target for Bitcoin remains 700,000 per coin, and her bull scenario is 2.4 million. And as you know, Max Kaiser, more recently, a few months ago, he upped his Bitcoin price target from 220,000 ultimately by a factor of 10x to 2.2 million in play. And I upped my target to 1.1 million for this cycle. But anyways, that's my bull scenario. But let's start here with the latest from her recent interview on Squawk Box, where she says Bitcoin remains on track to hit her price target of at least 700,000 per coin within years. And shout out Cathie Wood. So yeah, she did this new interview on CNBC on Squawk Box, and she says ARK continues to predict Bitcoin will increase by at least minimal 580% for the current value by 2030. So ultimately within the next 5 years. Quoting her here, we have always had a 2030 target. The base case is 700,000 to the 750,000 range. The bull case is in the 1.5 million range. Wood says there are three driving factors behind the massive Bitcoin price prediction. Here's what she said verbatim. David Purell, our analyst and our on-chain analyst, put that piece out recently. And you can see the building blocks. Now how much we share, we expect Bitcoin to either take from gold, currently like 22 trillion market cap, or grow that store value market. Institutions are moving in. The institutional FOMO like a mofo. And they're barely moved in. We have 1 million more coins, roughly, to be minted ever. And institutions are just testing the waters right now, dipping their little pinky toe in the water. And then there's the emerging market use cases as well. So we think we have miles to go. Wood also says that the U.S. has been in a recession, but that it will soon come out to an end after the more clarity from Trump's tariff negotiations, opening the door for massive economic growth, in part driven by the advances of the AI, in which she's also very bullish. And quoting her again, I just put out a letter talking about the rolling recession we have been in for the last 3 years. Since the Fed jacked up the rates, we have got a negative quarter in the first quarter and potentially in the second quarter as well. And I think more and more people are getting concerned about an extended recession. And amid all the uncertainty, we actually think we are at the end of this rolling recession, and that we are moving into a period after all of this uncertainty of much greater productivity. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Miss Cathie Wood. And interestingly, she says, if you look at the government sector, we are seeing unbelievable productivity moves take place. There's video out there between the new head of the FDA and the new head of the CDER, and they are talking about generative AI, my bad, in reviewing studies, medical trials, and cut work from days to minutes. So there's a lot of productivity, I think, evolving in the ecosystem. And she makes a great point. That's exactly what AI does. I think we're going to see a lot more productivity-driven growth, which means inflation is going to be much lower than expected, which is going to be very capital-friendly. And now let's dive a little deeper into the 2.4 million bull scenario from Cathie Wood. That's right. What you need to know, ARK Invest revised their 2030 Bitcoin price target to now see a range from 500 to 2.4 million, driven by assumptions on active supply and institutional adoption. So it all depends upon how bullish these institutions are as far as their asset allocation into the apex predator. And as you know, Bitcoin just literally rallied to like 105 the other day, and the bullish momentum has been restored here in Q2 of 2025. So ARK Invest raised its decade-end Bitcoin price target to the high of 2.4 million apiece after revising its assumptions on the active supply, which excludes lost or long-held coins. You got to keep in mind there's probably anywhere between 4 to 6 million Bitcoins lost, gone, or forever stagnated because the owner left it on a hard drive and it ended up in a dump or something of that nature. And even Satoshi's 1.1 estimated Bitcoin supply across thousands of wallets, they may never move. They're ultimately stagnated in a stalemate. You know what I mean? But some people are hopeful that one day Satoshi will move it. I highly doubt it. I personally feel, in my humble opinion, being Satoshi hasn't touched the coins in 16 years, they're never going to be touched. So that's 1.1 million alone just from Satoshi's wallet, something to reflect upon, which means Bitcoin's that much more scarce. There's never going to be 21 million active coins circulating because, again, 4 to 6 million are lost, stagnated, and stalemated, which means our Bitcoin will be worth that much more. Now, the bull projection figure, 60% more than its January estimate, reflects a 72% compound annual growth rate. This is the reason she upped it from last December through the end of 2030. And the base case estimate price is still 1.2 million, a 53% compound annual growth rate, with the bear case projects now 700,000, equating to a 32% CAGR. And we already referenced the David Purell, which is the creator of the Purell, indicator and all that. But you guys, let me know your thoughts on Cathie Wood. And again, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And her name was Cathie Wood, and she was stacking the pretty little bitty going up forever, Laura. Let me know your thoughts and read your comments out loud. And yeah, shout out One Glencoe. Shout out again, Max Kaiser, Your Holiness. Max just recently reposted the stream and wrote, Cathie says 2.4 million just to be cheeky, since I raised my target to 2.2 million. So Bitcoin game theory in play. The global hash war has begun. And it looks like we're up to 3,600 people on the live stream. Don't forget, repost Max Kaiser's quote, repost the stream, comment the stream, quote the stream. This is how we hack the algorithm. Close to 4,000 people on the live, and we're going to stick around for like a bonus hour, do a little Q&A.